It looks like this will head towards Baffin Bay, South Padre Island, somewhere in that vicinity, as a strong tropical storm or hurricane coming up tomorrow afternoon. Now remember, overnight, during the wee hours of the morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, that is what we call a maxima as far as tropical convective time. And that means that things usually ramp up during the early morning hours. So this is when we expect this to possibly approach hurricane status. And that is what is forecast by the National Hurricane Center. No warnings or watches for our area. Down the coast, you can see that hurricane warning in effect for Corpus Christi and Baffin Bay as this continues to move to the west. And there you go, right as it just prior to making landfall, it becomes a Cat 1, a minimal hurricane with winds of 75 miles an hour. Notice how thin the cone is. That means there is high confidence that this will move on off towards the west and then weaken across South Texas and then move into the Mexican state of Coahuila as we head on into Sunday and into Monday, well down the coast from our area. And as I've been saying, this looks like a minimal impacts for our area, some breezy winds along the coastline, 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rainfall for the triangle, and that's Saturday through Monday. I think the best chance of rain will be coming in Sunday and Monday, and minor coastal flooding ongoing in Jefferson and Orange counties, primarily along Highway 87. Tides are running about 1 to 2 feet above normal high tides. In the tropics also, we're watching pretty far south, watching Tropical Storm Gonzalo. It'll be moving through the Windward Islands as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, and then it dies on Monday in the south central Caribbean because of shear. Also, look how small Gonzalo is, by the way. In the far eastern Atlantic, coming off the coast of Africa, here's the west coast of Africa, a very potent tropical wave. Hurricane Center now giving this a 50% probability of becoming a tropical cyclone. That means a tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane over the next 5 days. We're looking very closely at not just one model, but what we call the ensembling of models, and it is taking it right on up towards Cuba around the 3rd of August. Just to give you a heads up, there is a signal that this could turn into a major hurricane a little bit early, but we're not just looking at one model. We're looking at the European ensemble, which is 51 runs of the European, which is regarded as probably the finest forecast model there is. And there are several of those members of that ensemble that does show that this could turn into a major hurricane. So that's what we're looking at. Several days to watch this, at least 10, before it is an issue in the possibly affecting maybe Cuba or Florida. All right, here's what we're expecting until 7 a.m. Slight risk of flash flooding primarily along the coastline, lesser amounts up in towards the triangle. As you can see, rainfall amounts, this is through at least Monday, and this is showing 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rainfall, as I said. And again, I think tomorrow will be, the showers will be moving fairly quickly. So we'll see a 60-70% coverage coming up tomorrow, but they'll be moving fairly quickly. So they're not going to drop very heavy rainfall tomorrow. Sunday into Monday's a different animal. The winds are going to slow down. I'm looking at 5,000 feet, and I'm also looking at 12,000 feet, looking at the lower and middle levels of the atmosphere. The winds will become more southeasterly, and they will become perpendicular. They will intersect or move across the coastline perpendicular. That's going to cause convergence and lift. So we think there's going to be a better chance of rain, particularly with a very tropical air mass over our area, where we could see some areas getting dumped on coming up on Sunday and Monday. I think that's where we're going to be watching for the potential for some areas to see some locally heavy rainfall. After that, the winds become, instead of southeasterly or perpendicular to the coast, they become more parallel. The winds will be coming from the southwest at 5,000 to 12,000 feet. So it looks like Tuesday and Wednesday we'll see more of a scattering before then high pressure builds on in, and we see hot, dry weather return. And that's where we see those temperatures marching back up into the lower 90s. So that's where we're at right now. We have any questions? We're taking your questions.
Our broadcast signal was a little weak in there. Can you go back a little bit and go over some of that again?
Which part?
Back to rain here in southeast Texas. What can we expect?
Okay.
And then off the coast of Africa, I believe, was when it started getting bad.
Well, let's just start it all over again. Apologize for that. We'll start over again. Good evening, Southeast Texas. Hope you're doing well. Looks like wet weather expected for the next 3 days before we start to see an improvement. As I said earlier, look at the clouds over Mexico. They're moving off towards the northwest. Look at the clouds over Louisiana and the eastern Gulf of Mexico moving towards the south. That tells us high pressure is above this storm. With water temperatures at 86, 87, and 88 degrees, there's no reason that this should not strengthen into at least a strong tropical storm, maybe a hurricane, as we head towards landfall coming up tomorrow afternoon. This is the direction it's moving. The map shows moving west. That's what the W means, west at 10 miles an hour. The winds currently, the maximum sustained winds are at 50 miles an hour, and we're at 7 p.m. The next update comes at 10 p.m. tonight, and there is high confidence that this will continue to move off towards the west. I'm not expecting any surprises. There's no reason for this to turn up the coastline like some have feared, because we've got high pressure off over North Texas and back over towards northern Louisiana and Arkansas. So this will continue moving to the west. You're looking at radar, and you can see the counterclockwise swirl. There's where the center of circulation is, clearly an area of low pressure, and this is about 185 miles to the east-southeast of Corpus Christi. And again, it's moving at 10 miles an hour, so it's running out of room to develop as it heads towards the coast. And we think that that's going to happen coming up tomorrow afternoon. That's why there are hurricane warnings in effect for Corpus Christi back over towards Baffin Bay. And it is forecasted to ramp up tomorrow morning at 1 a.m., looking at 65-mile-per-hour winds, and then heading towards Baffin Bay, South Padre Island, Corpus Christi, south of Corpus Christi, making landfall as a Cat 1 hurricane. Then it weakens Saturday afternoon. Sunday across South Texas, dumps pretty heavy rainfall there, and then falls apart over the Mexican state of Coahuila. What does that mean for us? Winds are not going to be an issue. It's going to be breezy. We've seen worse with thunderstorms. I think right on through, say, Monday, this forecast is Sunday through Monday, we could see 1, 2, maybe 3 inches of rainfall here in the Triangle. Lesser amounts if you live up towards Buna or towards Jasper. Coastal flooding ongoing. We're having minor coastal flooding right now. There's a coastal flood advisory for Jefferson and Orange counties. We're seeing tides running about 1 to 2 feet above normal. In the far eastern Atlantic, heading towards the Windward Islands, this is Gonzalo. Don't worry about Gonzalo. He's going to run out of gas as we head on into, say, Monday over the south central Caribbean, victim of shear. However, we're watching this next disturbance coming off the coast of Africa. We're in the far eastern Atlantic. There's the west coast of Africa. Here's the Cape Verde Islands, and we're watching this very potent tropical wave. Hurricane Center gives us a 50% chance in the next 5 days of becoming a tropical storm. Tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane. That's what a tropical cyclone is. We're looking on beyond that next 5 days because we're very interested in where this is going. I don't look at just one model. I look at what we call the ensemble of models, and we're looking at the European, which is regarded as the finest forecast model there is, bar none, headed right on over towards, say, Cuba and back over in towards the Bahamas as we head towards the first few days of August. There is a signal out of that 51 runs of the European of a major hurricane possibility. We'll have to watch that very closely. Still very early, but just give you a heads up on that. This is the way it's going to run for August and September. Now back to our local neck of the woods. There is a slight or a marginal to slight risk of flash flooding coming up tonight and in through about 7 a.m. in the morning. 1 to 3 inches right on through Monday. And Saturday, I don't think the risk for heavy rainfall is really in the cards because we're still going to see some of these bands. And they're going to, like today, they were moving at 20 to 25 miles an hour. They don't put very heavy rainfall down when they're moving that quickly. And that's what I think is going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a 60 to 70% coverage. Now, Sunday into Monday, that changes because if you look at the orientation of the coastline, it's shaped like this. Our winds at 5 and say 10,000 feet are going to be coming from the southeast, so they're going to be perpendicular. What happens is that is going to cause lift in the atmosphere because of what we call convergence. That's in conjunction with very high amounts of moisture in the atmosphere. Sunday into Monday could lead to some locally heavy rainfall totals, mainly along the coastline. However, instead of those winds being perpendicular to the coast, they become parallel to the coast or out of the southwest coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. That's not so good for rain. So I'm going to cut my rain chances down to a 40 to 50% coverage coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. Could see some surprises, but right now that's what I realistically think is going to happen. Then high pressure builds on in. And sayonara, we're done. Dry weather returns coming up Thursday and Friday. Capping develops over the area on Friday. Temperatures will likely rise into the lower 90s, and that's exactly what we're forecasting by, say, Thursday and Friday of next week. Now, do we have any questions? No questions.
Nothing else. It's still skipping pretty badly, so I'm just answering some questions based on what you're saying in the chat right now.
All right, we apologize for some of the technical difficulties. Hopefully you gleaned some good information out of this. Hope you and your family have a wonderful Friday night and a wonderful weekend. And as always, there's more weather at 12newsnow.com.